All right, this is for Algebra 1, Semester 2, and it's sections 10.1 and 10.2, and it's on rational expressions. Rational expressions are any expression that you can make into a fraction. Let's write that. Expressions that are fractions. Mostly fractions. You could always make something into a fraction by putting a 1 under it, but mostly fractions. And you'll see the examples on there mostly have a numerator and a denominator. And what we want to do is simplify them, just reduce them as far as we can. Use what we just learned in chapter 6 about factoring. Like here, you would see a common factor of 5. So you're going to divide them both by 5. You're going to be left with x minus 2. On the bottom, you can't factor 5x, so you just leave it as 5x. But you can reduce the two 5s since they're both outside any parentheses. So your answer is x minus 2 over x. Now, you cannot reduce the x's. That is in a parentheses right there. So that's technically not just an x, it's an x minus 2. This is an x. Can't reduce it unless it's on the outside of the parentheses. Number 2, you'd have to use a little star on this top part. You're going to put a 2 on top, a 3 on the bottom. You got y times y gives you your y squared, and 2 times 1. So you're going to get y plus 2 and y plus 1 for this top part. Now you cross it out because you factored. This bottom part is a difference of squares. It's y minus 1 and y plus 1. Cross it out. And you might notice that the y plus 1s are going to cross out on top and bottom. So your answer will be a y plus 2 over a y minus 1. You cannot reduce the y's. They're technically in a parentheses, so you cannot reduce them. All right, so let's try the bottom 3 here. A common factor is 12. You're going to be left with y plus 2 and 48y at the bottom. And 12 and 48 can be reduced by 12. You get a 1/4. So your answer is y plus 2 over 4y. That's how fast they can go. It can go pretty quick. Top one has a GCF of x. They both have at least one x. You'll have 2x plus 1 left over. The bottom one, they also have an x in common. You'll be left with 3x plus 2. The x's now can cross out. They're both on the outside of a parenthesis. So 2x plus 1 over 3x plus 2 is your solution, is your answer. This one you got to factor. A plus 1 and a minus 1. This is a perfect difference of squares. A times a, 1 times 1, so a plus 1, a minus 1. Once you factor it, cross it out. Because a squared minus 1 is the same as these two, so you're just changing the form of it. Down here you need a star. 2 times negative 1 would be a negative 2, and we have a negative 1 on the bottom. And you're going to need your 2a and your 2a on the top of the star. Two numbers that multiply to give us negative 2, add to negative 1 would be negative 2 times positive 1. These two can reduce to 1 and 1. So a minus 1 and 2a plus 1. You see an a minus 1 on the bottom and you see an a minus 1 on the top. Cross those out. Your solution is a plus 1 over 2a plus 1. You cannot cross out anything else. Those are parentheses. You can only cross it out if the parentheses are identical. So that is your first one there. Let's look at the next page. You can pause it if you need to catch up. On the top here, you've got x minus 4. Nothing you can factor out of there. The bottom, however, you've got a positive 4 instead of a negative 4, and you got a negative x instead of a positive x. So I think we should factor out a negative 1 so that we could make the 4 become a negative 4, make the x become a positive x. Now these will cross out, so your answer is just going to be negative 1. On the top here, you can take out a 3, so you're left with x minus 2. because you divide them both by 3. And on the bottom, you've got 2 minus x. Let's take out a negative 1 so that I become a positive x and a negative 2. Taking out a negative 1 just changes both signs. That's all it does. X minus 2s will now cancel. You'll get negative 3 at your end. 3 divided by negative 1 is negative 3. Let's see here. We've got 1 minus y squared. We could put 1 plus y and 1 minus y, but you're going to notice that the y's in front in this case. So I don't think we should do that one. I think we should take out a negative 1 first. So let's take out a negative 1 and be left with y squared minus 1. Now I can factor this into y plus 1, y minus 1, and you still need your negative 1 out front. So this is factored and this is factored up to this right here. At the bottom you're going to need a star, so a 3, a negative 4, a y, and a y, and two numbers that would multiply to give me 3 would be negative 3, negative 1. That would give me negative 4 when I add them together. So y minus 3, or y minus 1 and y minus 3. Factored it, so we cross it out, and I'm just seeing the y minus 1s in common. So you're going to have a negative 1 and a y plus 1 on top, and a y minus 3 on the bottom. Okay, so let's try some of these here at the bottom. Top we have b minus 7. The bottom is almost b minus 7. If you take out a negative 1, it will be b minus 7. So then you'll change both signs. These will cancel out, and you get negative 1. 5 minus 2a doesn't look too good. I think we should change the sign. So take out a negative 1, and you'll get a positive 2a, and you'll get a negative 5. And on the bottom, you've got 3, and you've got 2a minus 5. So now you can cross those out. So your answer is negative 1/3. On the top here, take out a 4. You'll be left with x minus 3. On the bottom, take out a negative 2. 6 divided by negative 2 would be negative 3. And if you take out the negative 2, you're just going to have an x left over, a positive x. So those will cancel out. 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2. So your answer for that one is negative 2. So that's section 10.1. You're just simplifying, trying to make them as small as you possibly can. You can pause it if you need to catch up. Mixed review. Oh, no, we don't want the mixed review. I didn't give you that page, so don't look at it. There's the next one. 10.2. We are going to multiply these. Now, multiplying fractions means you could cross-cancel if possible. If 2 goes into 4 2 times, you can make that a 1 and a 2. The 5s you could cross out. 5 goes into 5 1 time, so you can make them both 1s. You've got an a on the bottom, you could take out an a off the top and just make a squared. So you're going to end up with a squared times 1, which is a squared, and 2 times 1, which is 2. There's your answer. You can cross-cancel if possible, and that makes it a lot easier for you. You could multiply straight across and then reduce it afterwards, but that's just a little bit longer. If I look at this, this is like a parenthesis because there's a minus sign. So I can reduce the 4 and the 2. The 2 is not in a parenthesis. And that is it. So you're going to take a 2 and multiply it by x minus 2. 5 times 1 is 5. X squared times x to the third means you add those exponents, x to the fifth, and there's your answer. Cross-canceling, there is nothing you could reduce. So you're just going to put a minus 2, a plus 2, over 3 times a plus 3. Nothing you can reduce, so you multiply straight across. Nothing to reduce here, but you could take out a 2 down here. So you could change that to 2 parentheses y plus 3. Then you're going to get a negative 6 on top, a 2 parentheses y plus 3 times a y minus 5 on the bottom. So that whole thing goes on the bottom. So multiplying rational expressions, you multiply across. You could cross cancel if possible. You always cross cancel if you possibly can. Pause it if you need to catch up. Here's your last little page here. We could reduce some of these. The 6 and the 3. 3 goes into 6 2 times. You've got 2a's on the bottom. You could take 2a's off the top and get a squared. So 4 times 2 is 8, and then a squared. And 1 times 5 is 5. So there's your solution to A. Letter B, we have 5's that can be reduced, and nothing else. X plus 3 times x plus 2, there's nothing you can do there. And x plus 4 on the bottom, nothing you can do there. None of those are the same, and they're all in parentheses. So that would be letter B. Letter C. Letter C, we could take out a GCF down here, make it take out a 2, make it 2m plus 1. Cross that out. So there's nothing else to reduce. So multiply across, you're going to get negative 12 over 2m plus 1, and 2m minus 1. Of course, you could do FOIL, but you're not asked to. You could just leave it. Leave it with parentheses. Letter D, you need to factor first. A squared minus 9 can be a minus 3 and a plus 3. Make that into 2. The a squared minus 9, this is a times a, this is 3 times 3, and it's got to be a minus and a plus. You factored that one. This one right here, you could take out an a. They both have a in it. So you'll be left with a minus 3. This one down here at the bottom, you need a star. So you're going to put a negative 12 on top, a 1 on the bottom. A and a make your a squared. 1 times negative 12, that's how I got the negative 12. Let's see, I think it's 4 and negative 3. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. 4 plus negative 3 is 1. So you're going to get a plus 4 and a minus 3. Cross that out, factored all those. So let's see if there's things in common that we can, or things that are on top and bottom. I see an a minus 3 on the bottom and an a minus 3 on the top. Now, you could have done either one. It wouldn't matter. And I see an a on the top. So I take 1 off the top. I can take 1 off the bottom. That still leaves me with an a on the bottom. So it looks like my answer here is going to be a minus 3 and a plus 3 on the top. Everything else crossed out. A is on the bottom. And a plus 4 is on the bottom. There's your answer there. So that's how you would do sections 10.1 and 10.2. There you go.